Good evening, hello, and happy new year to all my lovely, lovely listeners out there. If you've never heard me before, my name is Ben Chai. I'm known as the Doctor Who of business. How wonderful that is, and I'm very sad that Doctor Who isn't doing so well at the moment. In this Facebook Live, I'll be sharing about why people fail to achieve their goals. Now, in any success component, there are 5 essential aspects just to get started. The first is goals, which we'll be covering. The second is your mindset. And mindset works across a variety of areas. It's why people self-sabotage if their mind isn't good. So they reach a certain level of success, and then it just doesn't work out, really. Something goes wrong. Finance. Okay, so finance is the third one. How to use money. For example, I've worked in the dance world, and you know, I've been very privileged to be in a performance group. Now, in the performance group, what people don't tend to budget for is travel to the performance events, the ongoing performance, rehearsals, so that takes time out of their work, and also the costumes. So they think that if you like, going in rehearsal for performance is only a certain amount, but actually it's a lot more. So finance is a major aspect. I was actually with someone today and explaining a little bit about finance. Now, this person is amazing, really amazing. He's actually made over 10 million and then lost it all. And one thing I was explaining about finance is generally in your life you will have 7 years of abundance, and then you'll also have 7 years of famine. It's very, you know, where things aren't correct. And unfortunately, what a lot of people do is during the abundance years, they go out and they spend it on their money on a lot of stuff instead of saving for the famine years, which will come. And how do the famine years come? Well, for example, the UK is in the middle of Brexit at the moment, and we think that if we or when we leave, that will impact the economy, which will cause less money to be available. There may be people who are out of work and so on, but not just things like Brexit, but the politics may change. So that, I guess, is politics, or the economics may change. And we've had various revolutions in the past, so people have lost jobs. So that's why we talk about 7 years of abundance and 7 years of famine. So the fourth one is sales. If you can't sell yourself in any way at all, now I'm not just talking about business. Again, in dance, if you can't sell yourself, the performance, to some of the promoters, then you're not going to be able to perform, obviously. And finally, content, which we're very big on at the moment. We're running a weekend this week on content. So if you're interested in the workshop, this one does cost money. We do a lot of free stuff, but this one does cost money. But if you're interested in attracting some great clients and understanding content which works in terms of your education, educating the people around you, your sales, your marketing, your branding, they're all different kinds of content that we work with to help people create great businesses. All right, so those are the five components: goals, mindset, finance, sales, and content. And today, as I said, we'll be looking at goals. Yay! Now, I'm sure most of you know about goals, and most people who watch my broadcasts have written them down, which is fantastic. You're in the top 10% for writing them down. Now, out of that top 10% of people who write down their goals, why is it that only, again, perhaps 2 or 3% of that top 10% really achieve those goals. So first of all, you probably understand the basics of goals. One, they have to be specific. So there's no point in saying, I'm going to be a dance performer or I'm going to make $1 million. That's it. You have to give it when and in what area. So dance in salsa or Lindy Hop or specific genre. In business, I'm going to do it in education and training, but not just education and training. I'm going to do it in maths, like my friend Philip Chan, perhaps. So be very specific with the goals. I think you guys know that. And then often I will take those goals and I'll break them down into mini goals. So your if you like, your long-term goals, I will divide them into short-term goals, and those short-term goals will divide into mini and micro goals or stepping stone goals to get to that big goal out there. So that's the essentials of goals. And please do watch my, if you like, the highlights of the interview I had on goal setting. Now, what I didn't cover in that interview, because there just wasn't time, was the other aspects of goal setting. And these are simply your achievements, your failures, the people around you, and your personality. So let's go through those 4 components: achievements, failures, people, and personality. First of all, your achievements. Really, really important to write down those achievements in your life. Now, you might think, I don't have any achievements. And then I'll have to take you right back to school. So perhaps an achievement is being a mother, being a father. Another achievement might be, just like some people suffer from depression, getting out of bed, I don't know, 90 days in a row. So write down those achievements. It's not just about winning competitions and trophies. And by the way, I think those are fantastic things to have in your life, but they are not essential. I remember sharing with my daughter that, okay, look, you can go and win this award, but that's not going to help your business. Focus on the business. Focus on what you're trying to achieve. So write down your achievements. Now, people always ask me why. Why write down the achievements? Well, by writing them down in a list, what I then do is ask them how they got to where they got to. So my good friend Ivy, she was saying that her achievement was getting climbing, I think it was Mount Everest, and getting to Camp Base. And I said, why was that an achievement? So she went through the struggles that it took to get there. And that's what I really want to focus on, because whenever you're going for any kind of success, there will be downtimes. There'll be people who attack you for no reason at all. And this is why actually I hate the coaching industry and the stage speakers, because I think most of them are not very nice people. Behind the scenes, up front they look good, but when you do due diligence on them, there's just a lot of horrible stuff going on. So they may attack you, that's one thing. The economy may change, and or you might get depressed, or somebody might attack you in some way, you get a heart attack, whatever. How did you make that achievement? And when you understand what you've been through to get to that achievement, it'll be something that you can always look at and think, okay, that was hard there. Maybe I can duplicate it in my next success story. So that's why I like to know about people's achievements. Their failures. I love to know about people's failures, and that's part of you. You should embrace those failures. If somebody has no failures, like, for example, I teach a little bit about property. If they have zero failures, I really don't want to speak to them, because I think they're lying to me. You know, I've been in property since 1988, and I've made, even today, I make mistakes and so on. So some people cover it and say, well, they're not really failures because I found a way around them and I was eventually successful. But hey, guys, there are things that have hurt us. We've lost money in, for example. We've trusted the wrong people. People have written crap about us, whatever it is. And sometimes we have accidentally caused the issue by being insensitive to somebody else. So failure is really, really important, and that gives me an idea, especially if they're recurring failures, of which areas may be causing self-sabotage in yourself. And this is something you can work out for your own self. People, love people. Now, we often say that you can go very fast on your own, or you can go very far with a team. I love teams, really love teams. One of the areas when I'm helping people with goal setting is to ask them to write down all the people in their life who are close to them, and then people who they would like to be close to. They've had a great connection, but for whatever reason, time and so on, they haven't been able to properly connect with that person. So I had a brilliant meeting today, really, really lovely guy. I've been told by Simone Vincenzi to see this guy for ages, but I haven't. But I made an effort to go and do that. And wow, what a great chat we had. And by the way, I did mean to say thank you to Simone and his team for a wonderful, wonderful workshop over the last weekend. It was a great, great reminder about different aspects of goal setting, and also, you know, they were just amazing kind of breakthroughs for people. Anyway, so people who can help you get where you want to go. So, for example, in the performance dance world, you know, we would list the top so-called teachers, and then go and have a look at what they're doing and see whether we've got a personality which vibes with them, or if we don't, if we have that personality which we vibes with them, whether they can teach us what we want to know. Remember to one person who taught a lot, and who I did try to get some education from, but he didn't understand. He was trying to make me dance like him. I was saying, you've got to stop teaching me to do that. You need to teach me to dance like me, with my physique, my body, and so on. So you need to not just have something in your head that you want to achieve, but you must also be able to vibe with the personality of that person in terms of people. So find people you connect with, and when you're listing out that people, when you're looking at your goals, also list out all the people who are close to you, and you know, I have columns for these people. I put supportive, unsupportive, or maybe they aren't, they don't mean to be unsupportive, but I just find them very negative in what they're saying to me, like, you can't do that. People are always telling me you can't do that, and whether, you know, they make it in terms of property, whether I can help them make some money by perhaps sharing some of the investment vehicles available to them, whether they'd be amenable to that, or maybe if I could run a business with them, maybe I can do something with them. So, for example, some of you know also that I'm interested in being in the film world. And I've made some wonderful, wonderful contacts over the last few years, and found some people who I can work with in those areas. If you saw my Facebook and the way I categorize people in my Facebook, you'd be amazed, because it tells me what each of these people can do in my life. And if I want to now move into a certain direction, I know those kinds of people, and I can then do due diligence on them. So people, very, very important when you're looking at your goals and how to achieve them. Because if you're trying to achieve them on your own, you know, honestly, it's going to be a long, long, lonely, very lonely journey. And finally, your personality. Your personality is key to achieving goals. So some of you know your strengths, your weaknesses, and so on. And in fact, that's what I ask people to do. I ask them to create a personal SWOT analysis. And then afterwards, I might ask them to do one on their business. And a SWOT analysis is a marketing tool, which stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And your strengths are normally, I don't know why, but a lot of people don't see their strengths really. They write lots on their weaknesses, The opportunities is a combination of the people in your life that may offer you some opportunities. Maybe they've even offered you them before. So for like a couple of years ago, people were kept offering me acting jobs, but I just didn't have the time, so I can go back to them. So opportunities, how your personality can create opportunities. So if you're a very empathic person and you want to work with care, then you can write down some of those opportunities to do with your personality. And threats. So if you've written down your weaknesses, you can then expand on those weaknesses and say threats. And now I'll give you an example. Sorry to give you lots of personal examples, because like when I'm doing these broadcasts, I don't like people to think, oh, he's talking about me. And I always get these messages, he's talking about me, but I'm not really. So one of the threats to me when I'm going for success, actually a few of them, here's a few. One where I was trading in the stock market, and I would be very good at finding great shares, but my personality would always hold on to those shares. So it was very greedy, if you like. And so that's why I don't trade anymore. But I will work with some kinds of shares, but I won't be looking at it every day and thinking, oh, I've got to sell, got to buy, whatever it is, because I will hold on. And I guess the other potential personality problem is, you know, perhaps I can alienate people because I like to do crazy things, and some people just don't like that. Or maybe that's fine by me these days, because like, okay, so what? But it might be very important to you. So just be aware of that strengths, weaknesses, on opportunities and threats of your personality. Now, the real problem with trying to do your own personality analysis is your blind spots. We don't know what we don't know. So there are a number of ways to help you work that out. And this is very important, by the way, these personality tests. Most people just do them, and then you see the results on Facebook. Oh, it says, hey, I do this, this, and this. I'm really cool, or that's not so cool. So when you do a personality test, and by the way, there's a lot of these free ones online, find out what's the best version of you and the worst version of you. And they tell you, that's where they're showing you your weaknesses, and you can agree with it or not. A better personality test is something called the Johari window. So please do research that on Google, the Johari window. And that's where somebody else who perhaps you trust will tell you, actually, this is how you come over. This is what they feel about you. They have to be really blunt, and you need to take it. And I know that many people will say, listen, I can take it, be direct with me. But actually they can't. They get very defensive, and they say, why'd you say that? And then there's this kind of awkward silence. And then they don't really talk with you for a month or so afterwards. Yes. Anyway, the Johari window gets somebody else to analyze you and tell you, and this is normally a close person who you've known for a while, or actually we like 3 or 4 people so you can cross-reference the analysis on that. And they can tell you your strengths, your weaknesses, and how you come over in an environment. All right, guys, so that's my, if you like, the addition to the goal setting that I'd like to add. You've got to know your achievements, your failures. These are indicators of how well that you're going to do in whatever area you want to focus on. The people who can help you, the people who will distract you and mess you up, and your personality. Really important. Are you a direct person or an indirect person? Can you take it if people talk directly to you and say, you're no good at this, you need to do something about it? Again, just a shout out with our workshop this weekend. It's a content workshop, and it focuses on helping you attract people, great people in your life in whichever area you want. So if it's in finance, if it's angel investors in property, or if it's customers for a business, or if you just want some great people to collaborate with you on a project. This is Ben Chai, the Doctor Who of Business, saying thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next week. Bye.